you know. And here we are. Okay. All
Hey.
right. Hello. Good
Hi.
morning. So we tried to go live on Facebook. That didn't work, so we're recording for you all.
Yay.
Yay. So my name is Maya, and as this is going on both of our pages, we'll do a little bit of intro of who we are. Um, I am I live in Sydney, originally from California, and I am I don't know, a woman of many trades, I guess. I would say mainly I work with voice, and I work with people, especially women, on their voices and using their voices in the world, and really getting comfortable with speaking their mind and speaking their truth and singing and vocalizing and humming and and really just getting to know what I like to call the bridge. So I feel like the voice is the bridge of the soul to the world. So yeah, that's me in a very small nutshell. And this, my dears, is Shona, and she's going to give us a little brief about her as well, just so you guys get a little familiar with us both.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Maya. What a lovely introduction. I'm already glowing with positive vibes to share. But what I do, I'm from York in the UK, and what I do is through deep inner inquiry, connect people with the best version of them and the truth of who they are, freeing them from what they're trapped in or feel trapped by in this world or the illusion of this world, so that we can simply be and have fun in everything that we do. It's about joy and being joy and expressing joy in what you do, and that's what I help people connect with. And I too am a way shower and guider of the bridge, just as Maya is, and that's why I love speaking with her, because we just kind of connect on a deep level and bounce off each other, if you like, with what we share. So it's just lovely to be here today.
Yeah. And we were thinking about, doing an interview series and all sorts of things. And then we thought, all we need to do is have a conversation, you know? So we both
Yeah.
I've got my tea, and we just wanted to come in and really talk to you guys about, there's some interesting things going on in our climate right now in the world. And Shona and I actually met through an online business. I love online businesses. And really, from the moment we started speaking, the conversation just flowed so easily, because there is really a conversation to be had here. There is really a conversation that needs to be had here, and we would like to start it. I know many people are having it, but we want to start our own.
Yeah.
And you want to,
It is a
yeah,
deep time, it's a deep moment of time for big shifts in where we are, because the system is broken down. So even though we are technically on lockdown, it's a moment where we can find our freedom and who we really are and move forward with that, and find I prefer enterprise, something that's fun and entertaining for us, that helps other people as well to just shine out. And it begins with each individual. So it's a time to really get to know who you are first and foremost, so that you can move out in the best version of you going forward, when we are allowed to re-emerge and connect with each other on a physical basis. um, because it's just, even though it's all internet based right now, it's opening the world up to recognizing each other
yeah,
and connecting with each other globally. I mean, couldn't be further away, really, and yet we're here talking and sharing with you from the heart space, to show actually how humanity is a network, and together, through whatever it is that we connect with, we can grow together and make things happen in a positive way together and empower each other. It's a time for empowerment.
And really
Time.
yeah, this whole breakdown of structure that you're talking about, I mean, that's such a huge part of this whole thing. Is nothing happens by chance for me. Just nothing happens by chance. Not this conversation, and not what's going on in the world, and the fact that we are in this lockdown and in this kind of space of having to slow down and really look at what wasn't working. Because, you know, when you're in the hustle and you're in the bustle and you're in the go, and you just don't have time to stop and think. And this has given us an opportunity to stop and think. And Shona and I have talked a lot about how this can go really two ways, right? One is just freaking out about the fact that things have broken down and being afraid of what could be, or sitting with yourself, as she was saying, and taking in who you really are, and then deciding from that place, what do you want to create from this broken structure? Because it's never going to go back to what it was. That's for sure. We've talked about this over and over again. I mean, this is never going to go back to what's been. And for me, I say, thank God. I'm done with that.
Yeah, because there's so many things in the structure that are broken, even when it's functioning as it's meant to technically be properly. It's broken. There's people not feeling supported or working in environments that
They don't feel valued.
Yeah, and they're, you know, you kept under the thumb when, you know, you're a grown person with your own capabilities and all, you know, you're like told when you can go for lunch and things like that, and how long you have to be and that sort of thing.
When I think back to those days, I just want to cry. Really. Just to think that that was okay for a while. You know what I mean? That was like okay for a long while. To think that that's what we deserved. To be told what to do and how to do. And, you know, we're human beings. We're incredibly creative creatures. And the more freedom we have, the more freedom our mind has. I mean, if you look at Einstein, he was the greatest, he was the greatest example of this for me, was just talking about how creativity is the greatest gift. Because without that, we are completely limited. And because of that, we're completely limitless. And I feel like that whole feeling of being under someone's, you know, dream, under someone's thumb, under that whole feeling is very restrictive.
It's also destroying as well for the soul because it can't express itself truthfully.
That's right. That's right. And now, you know, really, I mean, we've been, so how long have you guys been in lockdown in England?
We've just started our 4th week. So yeah.
So I think we're just a little bit behind you guys, or maybe right on time with you guys. And it's been, you know, I keep telling people I'm like on the pendulum between feeling completely blissed out and hitting a brick wall, right? Because again, it's like we're never going to go back to what was. We don't exactly know what's to come. And so we're in this bubble, which at moments is really blissful. You know, you're not waking up at any certain time. I mean, for me, it's spending amazing time with the kids and, you know, making a beautiful garden and just being able to teach them the things I want. And for them, it's connection time with family. They get to be with their parents who they miss all day. And really, it's something that I'm realizing, and I've thought about this for a long time. I want to stay like this. This is perfect for me. I don't want to go back to what was. And I want to come from a place in this conversation, especially, of what can we create from here? What are our desires? Because for each one of us, it's different, but just touching on the possibility of, we know what was. We know we don't want what was. We know what wasn't working. I mean, think about how much people have been pushed to antidepressants in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shona, I know you can speak to this because you work with people in this field all the time who are in a
Yeah.
moment of transition.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us a little bit of insight into what you see as the before of the madness, kind of the before of the, you know, in the rat race, in the game, in the hustle, in the, you know, as you said, in that box. And what do you feel is the possibility once we are able to free our minds to be outside of that box and what's open to us on the other end?
Yeah, and that's where this time is a real voyage of discovery for many people, because they can't work, or if they can work, they can work from home. So even though they're not in the office anymore, literally under someone's thumb, so they're beginning to feel what it's like to be outside of the box. And once that's discovered, I don't know anybody who will want to go back into the box. And as you say, those who are in the box are literally depressing themselves. That's why we're on have antidepressants in the world. And in all honesty, what they do is destroy the neurotransmitters in your brain, so you can't function properly, really, anyway. You're just kind of zombified. And that's where the space was before this. So even though for some it may initially appear like a crisis time, because you've suddenly got freedom, it's like, oh my God, what do I do with it? Wah! And that sort of thing is beginning to happen. What's on the other side of that is you recognizing you and your capability to create. Because once that's gone out of the system, it's like, why was I so bothered? And that's when you begin to realize how trapped you have been.
Yeah.
And it gives you so much possibility. Now, I love that word, because when you look at the origins of that word, I mean, today it's kind of almost means maybe. But if you look at the real origins of it, it means powerful, miracle, these sorts of words. So the possibilities that are happening right now for everybody who is willing to recognize them, of course,
Yes.
is magnificent, because it's allowing them to really fulfill those dreams and visions that they have said no to either fit in or to do what they think they should to please people, or however it is they've got into that system. They can now begin to connect with the idea of being themselves without being controlled anymore. And that, once that level of freedom sinks in, it gives tremendous opportunity to leverage what's around you to support you, because you are empowered by that sense of freedom that's arisen in you.
And I would love to add to that, because there's also this feeling of, I think for many people, is when you begin to open that box and you begin to step out of what you normally are, there can be a lot of resistance, not just from you, but from the world around you. You know, people are very comfortable to see you as you are, as they know you to be, right? They're very comfortable with that, because then it reflects back to them who they are in that scenario. So for example, I always give the example that I like to travel alone. Okay, so I've traveled a lot, and I've traveled alone all the time. And I've seen lots of people travel, you know, with lots of friends, and they go in groups. And, I questioned why it was for me that way, that I loved this alone time. And it really was because when you are in a new place, as we find ourselves now in a new place, you can really let yourself, and especially when you're on your own, afford that time for yourself to try new things. Okay? Because there is no one from your past, no one in your sphere speaking to you about who you are. They're not saying to you, why are you eating that food? You don't like that food. Or why are you doing that thing? You don't like that thing. And bringing you back to who they think you are, who they need you to be so they can be themselves in that moment. And literally what I feel like this time has done for everyone is it's isolated you from those you know in such a profound way that it's given you space for you to discover, what do I want now? Without the external world saying, but you don't really like that, but that's not really you. You're not an adventurer. You're not a risk taker. You're not. And the truth is, we all are all of those things that we think we're not. We just don't give ourselves the permission to explore that part of ourselves because we're worried about what other people think and what other people. It's this continuous, hamster wheel of what other people. And I just want to put this into the collective consciousness, this idea that not only are we isolated and we have time to go within, but this is really a time to let go of any shame or fear or worry of what others may think of who you want to be, what you want to become, what you feel you want to create for what's to come. And kind of let all that shit out the window and open ourselves to a place, as you said, of possibility, of power, of magic, of something bigger than what we believe we are. You know what I mean? Something so far out of our scope of imagination. And normally, again, you wouldn't have this time to just sit with that. And now we have that time. I know for me personally, that style of being before didn't work. The rush, the hustle, the push, just the whole thing was so stressful. And I think now I see it even better because the children are reflecting it to me. There's a much more sense of calm,
Yes.
amongst their whole being. And children really teach you so quickly. They don't give you time to think. They show you right away. So if we were to really forget about everyone else and forget about what the mind says, right? Because we're all living from this worry, from this mind, from this overthinking of what's going to happen. If we dropped into our hearts, right? Someone taught me something really cool. So this somatic teacher taught me that if you lift your left hand and you put your hand on your heart and you just take some breaths, what happens is it starts to slow down the parasympathetic nervous system very quickly. Sorry, switching that on and turning off the sympathetic nervous system. It also begins to, because the left is the receiving, so it's just coming straight in and it really just slows things down. It's moving, just really starting to slow things down. And when I saw this, I kept thinking about how that's what this time is doing for us. It's giving us an antenna to receive something, and it's giving us time to slow down.
Absolutely, because it's when we're in the rush of the, what we feel we have to do, rather than being who we are more in our head space than our heart space. And our truth is in the heart space and our gut instincts as well. And they hold the truth of us. And the brain, the central nervous system, it's a point of action. It's an important part of us, but it's also a part that hinders us from our truth if we go into it too much. If we allow the thought forms to take hold of us rather than letting them go, so we can just be here in peace, love, courage, and joy, then that's where the illness comes in, when we're in that space, because we're out of our body in a sense. We're not inside connected with the truth of us. And that space doesn't allow us to be, because we're always thinking, I've got to be here in 10 minutes, I've got to be here and do this before I go, I've got to do that before I come back, and blah blah blah. It's always thinking about the future and where we've got to be next. It's thinking about things, whereas in this moment of time, and that's what, and it's important that I said the moment of time, because it's a great opportunity to discover what it is to be in the moment, because every moment is precious and every moment is full of golden nuggets for us to expand and grow with. And as we don't have to be anywhere at the moment, we don't have to think about anything, and we can begin to hear those golden nuggets coming up from the heart space. And we'll suddenly be inspired once we've kind of gone through, as Maya said, all the resistance to the space that we're in, and our mind is quiet. The inspiration that comes up in that time, in those moments, is beautiful, and it's something that you can leverage to create the truth of you for everybody. Mm-hmm. And in those precious moments, it's like when people say to you, if this was your last moment, are you happy? And this is the time to find that joy, that peaceful joy, which is abundant. That is our currency. When we are in joy, there is no stress. You don't worry about things, because in that space you are an attractor, you're a magnet for abundance and prosperity. So the more you quieten the mind down and let go of that resistance and move in, allow your heart to speak,
and you
the
know,
more
it's not like
that can be, yeah.
And it's not like people don't have those dreams in their heart. You know what I mean? Those dreams have been living there for a long, long time. It's not like it's something where I feel like I'm asking people to, you know, dig deep to find. It's more like, try to remember.
It is.
You know, remember those dreams and that joy, and that it's not something outside of ourselves. It's something we've just had to bury for so long due to all of this push and hustle and this. It's not like it's something foreign to us. You know, people look at it kind of like, you know, it's kind of a scary time almost, right? You have to go within. But the truth is, you don't have to search very far.
No.
You know, it's not, I mean, I think, like, I speak a lot to moms, right? Because I'm a mom, and tends to be the the environment you're in. And I realized that they are not, they're not looking for themselves. They know who they are. They just want to get back to that woman.
Yes.
You know? They're not searching for her. They want to get back to her. And that rings so true for me in terms of we want to get back to who we really are. We want to get back to our sense of being in the world. We've just been pulled so far away from our natural state of joy and our natural state of creativity and our natural state of dreaming.
Yes, that's so true. And that's why I see, and I'm sure you do as well, Maya, I see this time as a gift.
Yeah.
Because it's just allowing, because when you allow, it just happens anyway. Yeah. And as Maya said, we've got so far away from our truth, so far away from who we really are, and those dreams and visions that we all at one point had in our lives. That
well, probably we probably had several, right?
Yeah, and we've received this to give us a boot up the bum, if you like. You want to remember, here you go, have plenty of time to do so.
This is working for you. Let me just slow things down for a minute.
Yeah. And we could have just happened through a love fest, if you like, but because we've been so far removed from ourselves and the hustle and bustle and everything, it's had to be something like this in order for us to go, oh, my life's gone like this, and actually I prefer it to be this way. I mean,
I really question how many people, if you threw them right back into their old lives, what would happen to them mentally, emotionally, when you have a minute, to take to yourself and quiet down and just think for a minute. I think two major things happen. One is it really ruffles you from the inside out because now you're stuck with yourself. Right now you're in the intimate circle of your family all together, and those triggers are happening left and right, and you don't have a place to run to, you don't have a work to run to, or the this or the that. And so two things for me I see have happened. One is that I've had to face so many things within myself that I was sure I'd worked on before and sure I'd seen it, all sorts of stories. And the other one was it gave it time to remember what I used to feel about those things. And all of that came together in a way of just questioning not what was, but what's possible for what can be. Because now I'm back to, again, that remembrance, and this idea that how big can we get? How big can we dream? How big? Why am I limiting something I don't even know? I don't know what's going to happen. So let's create from that place.
Yeah.
So I want to tell everyone that Shona and I have decided to do a bit of a series on this.
Yes.
Because we have just through our deep conversations, we've had so many things come up that we feel is really important to share. And if not now, then when? Really, now is the perfect time. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to give it to you guys all in one go, because that's, I think, a bit overwhelming. But I think some of the things we do want to leave you with today is, anyway, I'll hand it to Shona in a sec. For me, it's, so we know the structures didn't work and they were broken. We're never going back to what was. That's a given. And I think what I want to, challenge people to think about is, what do you want to see next? What do you, and again, forgetting about what was, really letting go of that confined box that they tried to shove us all into. And start to, you know, really put your hand in the air and connect with your heart. And if it wasn't about XYZ, those worries, where would you be? What would you be doing? How would you be living? And really just opening this idea up of, like you said, what is possible? What is the power? What is the magic in what you can bring? Um, yeah, darling, hand it to you, and maybe you can end on that, on a note like.
I've really enjoyed this discussion, Maya, and I hope it's helped those of you who are listening to it in the way that we want it to, and that you are beginning to recognize the beauty of this moment of time, and are allowing things that may have been quiet whispers in the background to come forward and really take you on a journey, because it's taking that leap of faith, because many of us were in that structure because we were afraid of change. But change has been forced upon us here, if you like. It's been given to us. It's like, here's change. What are you going to do with it? And it's really time to allow those little voices that you've heard of big things that you're capable of to come forward. Because the truth is, we are truly limitless. And if we allow that beauty to come forward and to create from that and the possibilities within it, what we can create for ourselves and each other is bigger than we recognize, is bigger than we can see. And when a vision that you have is bigger than anything you've witnessed so far, then you know that you are connected with truth, because it's always bigger than what you may initially believe is possible. And that's what makes it possible. Because really, in truth, you are energy in this body, and you are infinite and can create anything that you believe to be true for you.
Oh, that's a perfect way to end. So, thank you, honey. I really also hope this, you know, these conversations are important. And the more we have of them, you know, there can't be enough of them in the world. I hope this inspires maybe other sisters and other people in the world to start sharing their own conversations about what's possible, and really getting into a space where everyone's having these conversations. And every time I look on, you know, I look up from my eyes onto a computer screen or on my phone or in any kind of social media setting, I'm seeing these conversations happening. So we can really, you know, start to really shift things. We need each other, you know. That's the beauty of this separation, as you said. It's brought us so much closer to people from all over the world, and hopefully this conversation will spark even more conversations around. So Shona and I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be in Facebook Live so you guys can comment and communicate with us, because we really want to know where you're at and what you're thinking, and yeah, really address some things as a community, not just as the two of us, which is always lovely.
Yeah.
But really engaging a larger community into this conversation, and really beginning to have them on a regular basis, and open our minds in terms of what is really possible for us. And yeah, and the conversation will build from there. So,
And empower you through them as well, because we hope to connect with live and the next one, so that we can receive and answer your questions as well, and make it really poignant and to the point for you. So yeah, we look forward to that.
okay, well, thank you, my love, and we'll see you guys all very soon. Bye.
Bye for now.